My phone buzzed during lunch break. Family group chat. I smiled, expecting maybe dinner plans or a funny meme from Dad. Instead, I read the words that would change everything. "We think it's best if you take a step back for now. You're causing unnecessary stress during what should be a happy time for Marcus. We need space." My hands started shaking. The sandwich I was holding dropped onto my desk. Space? From me? I'm the one who paid their mortgage for 3 years. I'm the one who covered Marcus's rent more times than I can count. I'm the one who showed up for every crisis, every emergency, every time they called at 2 in the morning needing money. And now I'm the problem? All because I said one word. No. How did being responsible turn me into the villain of my own family's story? Growing up in suburban New Jersey, our family looked picture perfect from the outside. Dad worked in insurance, Mom was a part-time teacher, and we lived in a modest split-level house with a maple tree in the front yard that turned brilliant red every October. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. At least, that's what everyone thought. What they didn't see was the pressure cooker dynamic inside that house, where roles were assigned early and never questioned. I was the responsible one. Marcus was the beloved one. And somehow, those two roles meant I would spend the next 15 years funding everyone else's dreams while putting my own on hold. I was the firstborn, so expectations landed on my shoulders before I could even understand what they meant. I got straight A's because anything less meant disappointing Mom. I worked 2 jobs through college because scholarships didn't cover everything, and I refused to burden my parents. I graduated with honors, landed a solid job in finance, and started building what I thought would be my own life. Except my life kept getting interrupted by everyone else's emergencies. Dad had a heart attack my second year out of college. Suddenly, their mortgage was underwater and medical bills were piling up. I started sending $2,000 every month. Not a loan. A gift. Because that's what good daughters do, right? That $2,000 a month continued for 3 years. 36 months of my own dreams deferred. I wanted to travel to Europe. Gone. I wanted to save for a house. Impossible. I wanted to start dating seriously, maybe get married myself. But who has time for romance when you're working 60-hour weeks just to keep your parents' house out of foreclosure? Meanwhile, Marcus was living his best life in Manhattan. He had a tiny studio apartment in Hell's Kitchen that cost $3,500 a month. And when he was between opportunities, which happened about every 8 months, guess who covered his rent? For 8 months straight, I sent money to keep my little brother housed while he figured out his next move. That's nearly $30,000 if anyone's counting. I was counting. Then there was Mom's dental emergency. $8,000 for implants because her insurance wouldn't cover it. Did Marcus chip in? No. He sent a thoughtful text message. I sent a check. There was the family vacation to Disney World. Everyone wanted to go, make memories, bond as a family. The total cost was $5,000. I paid for everyone's tickets and hotel. I didn't even go. I couldn't take time off work because I'd already used my vacation days to help Dad recover from his surgery, but that didn't matter. What mattered was that the family got their magical week in Florida. Marcus posted photos every single day. "Best family ever," one caption read. I liked the photo from my office cubicle during my lunch break. Sunday dinners at my parents' house became a weekly ritual I started to dread. We'd gather around the same oak table where I'd done my homework as a kid, and the conversation always followed the same script. Dad would ask about work. I'd share a success story, maybe a promotion or a big project I'd completed. They'd nod politely, say, "That's nice, dear," and then turn to Marcus. "How's the job search going, son?" Or, "Any exciting opportunities on the horizon?" Marcus always had a story. Some startup that was about to take off, some connection who was going to open doors, some excuse wrapped in optimism. And Mom and Dad would smile, encourage him, tell him his time was coming. Nobody ever asked why my time seemed to be Yang Yuan spent making sure everyone else's time could come. Thanksgiving was especially painful. I'd arrive Wednesday night and spend all day Thursday cooking. Turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, 3 kinds of pie. Marcus would show up at 4 p.m. with a $15 bottle of wine and get praised for being thoughtful. "Marcus brought wine, everyone! Isn't that sweet?" Meanwhile, I'd spent $300 on groceries and 2 days of prep work, but I was just doing what was expected. Marcus was exceeding expectations by simply showing up. The math never added up, but nobody seemed to notice. Or maybe they noticed and just didn't care. I was the reliable one. Reliability doesn't get celebrated, it gets exploited. The engagement announcement came on a Sunday in early October. The leaves were just starting to turn, and there was that crisp autumn feeling in the air that usually made me nostalgic for better times. Marcus had texted the family chat that morning saying he had big news. When I arrived at my parents' house, I noticed the good champagne glasses were out, the ones we only used for major celebrations. Mom was wearing her pearls. Dad had actually ironed his shirt. Something was up. Marcus walked in at noon with Jenna, his girlfriend of 8 months. I liked Jenna. She was a teacher, kind and genuine, maybe too genuine for Marcus's usual type. He typically dated women who were as image-obsessed as he was. "We're engaged," Marcus announced, holding up Jenna's hand to show off a ring that must have cost 3 months' salary. Assuming he had a salary. Mom burst into tears immediately. Dad shook Marcus's hand so hard I thought he might dislocate something. I hugged them both and said congratulations, because that's what you do. I meant it too. I wanted Marcus to be happy. I wanted Jenna to be happy. I just had no idea that their happiness was about to come with a price tag attached to my bank account. We popped the champagne, the same champagne I'd bought and brought over, by the way, because Mom had texted asking me to grab something nice on my way. We toasted, we laughed, and then the conversation shifted. "We're thinking a spring wedding," Jenna said, her eyes bright with excitement. "Maybe late April? The weather's perfect then." Mom was already in full planning mode. "Oh, a spring wedding would be beautiful. Have you thought about venues?" Marcus leaned back in his chair with that confidence he always had, the kind that came from never having to back up his promises with actual resources. "We want something special. Maybe a vineyard in Napa Valley. Really make it an experience, you know? Destination wedding vibes. About 200 guests." I nearly choked on my champagne. Napa Valley? 200 guests? Did he have any idea what that would cost? Dad must have been doing the same mental math because he cleared his throat. "Son, that sounds wonderful, but that's quite expensive." Marcus waved his hand dismissively. "We'll figure it out. Family helps family, right?" He looked directly at me when he said it, and there it was. The expectation, the assumption, the unspoken demand wrapped in familial obligation. Mom jumped in, her voice taking on that particular tone she used when she was about to ask for something big. "You're so good with money, honey, and this is your brother's wedding, once in a lifetime. Surely you can help make it special." I felt my stomach drop. I'd just started saving seriously for the first time in years. I'd finally paid off my own student loans. I'd been looking at condos, thinking maybe it was time to stop renting and build some equity. I wanted to start my own life. Maybe even freeze my eggs because I was 34 and still single because I'd been too busy funding everyone else's lives to build my own. "Congratulations to both of you, truly," I said carefully, "but I can't fund a wedding right now. I'm saving for my future, maybe a house, starting my own family someday. You guys will figure it out. There are payment plans, smaller venues, lots of options." The temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. Marcus's smile disappeared. Mom's face went from hopeful to hurt to angry in about 3 seconds. Dad looked down at his plate. "After everything we've done for you," Mom said quietly, but her voice had an edge sharp enough to cut. "We raised you. We sacrificed for you." The irony was so thick I could taste it. "Mom, I've been helping financially for years. I've paid tens of thousands of dollars into this." "Family," Marcus interrupted, his voice rising. "I always knew you were jealous. You can't stand seeing me happy. This is my moment and you're making it about money." "I'm not making it about money," I said, trying to stay calm. "You are. I'm just saying I can't pay for your wedding. That doesn't mean I don't love you or want you to be happy." Dad finally spoke up. "Let's not bring up the past. Family helps family. You're being selfish." Selfish. That word hung in the air. I'd given everything for years, and now saying no once made me selfish. I stood up. "I love you all, but no, this is Marcus and Jenna's wedding. They need to fund it themselves. I'm not the bank." I left before dessert. The next 3 days were silent. Then the bombing began. Mom sent me Bible verses about honoring your parents. Dad forwarded articles about family estrangement and the damage it causes. Marcus sent me Venmo requests for absurd amounts with joke messages. For being the worst sister ever, $200,000. Haha, so funny. Then they created a new group chat. Family planning, it was called. I was added automatically. Immediately, the messages flooded in. Screenshots of vineyard venues, budget spreadsheets, guest lists. Every single plan assumed my contribution. They were spending my money in real time without even asking anymore. I blocked all of them. I needed space to breathe. 1 week later, I unblocked them to find 37 missed messages and the final one. We think it's best if you take a step back for now. You're causing stress during a happy time. I was removed from the family group chat, uninvited from Sunday dinners, erased from the family calendar. Just like that. 34 years of being the good daughter, and I was disposable the moment I stopped being useful. 2 months passed, the longest I'd ever gone without talking to my family. At first, I felt guilty. That familiar weight pressing on my chest, telling me I was wrong, I was selfish, I should apologize and just write the check. But then something shifted. I started going to therapy. My therapist asked me a question that changed everything. If a friend treated you this way, would you accept it? No, I wouldn't. So why was I accepting it from family? I threw myself into work. I got a promotion I'd been too distracted to pursue before. I joined a gym. I went out with friends on Sunday afternoons instead of sitting at that oak table feeling invisible. I started living my own life, and it felt strange, lighter, like I'd been carrying a backpack full of rocks for years and finally set it down. Then, on a cold Thursday evening in December, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello? A woman's voice, shaky and upset. Is this Marcus's sister? It was Jenna. My heart started racing. Yes, this is she. Is everything okay? There was a long pause. I need to talk to you. Can we meet? Please? It's important. We met at a coffee shop in Morristown the next day. Jenna looked exhausted. Dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a messy bun, hands wrapped around a coffee cup like she was trying to absorb its warmth. Thank you for meeting me, she said. I didn't know who else to talk to. I waited. She took a deep breath. Marcus lied to me. About everything. The story spilled out. Marcus had told Jenna that I had a trust fund, that I was secretly wealthy and was planning to pay for the wedding as a surprise gift. That's why he'd been so confident about the Napa venue, the expensive plans. He'd convinced her it was all taken care of. But it got worse. He'd also lied about his job, told her he made 6 figures, told my parents I'd already promised money, told their friends I was holding grudges from childhood and punishing him for being the favorite. He'd constructed this elaborate web of lies, and everyone believed him because Marcus had always been charming. That was his superpower, making people believe whatever he needed them to believe. Jenna had discovered the truth by accident. She'd found credit card statements while looking for their insurance paperwork. Marcus had $40,000 in debt, maxed out cards, loans from friends he hadn't repaid. He'd even taken advances from his job that he couldn't pay back. The 6-figure salary? He made $42,000 a year. Everything about his lifestyle, the nice clothes, the expensive restaurants he posted on Instagram, had been funded by debt and by the money I'd sent over the years. He'd taken my help and used it to build a facade, and now that facade was crumbling. I don't even know if he loves me, Jenna said, tears streaming down her face. Or if he just needs someone to fix his life, another person to take care of him. I felt a complicated mix of emotions. Vindication, because I'd been right. Sadness, because Jenna didn't deserve this. And anger, because my family had chosen to believe Marcus's lies instead of trusting me. I'm so sorry you're going through this, I told her. You deserve honesty. You deserve a partner, not a project. I suggested she confront Marcus with my parents present, rip off the Band-Aid, let everyone see the truth at once. She agreed. The following Sunday, she did exactly that. I wasn't there, but I got the phone call afterward. Mom was crying. Dad was quiet. We had no idea, Mom said. Marcus admitted everything. The lies, the debt, all of it. We're so sorry. But then came the kicker. But surely you can still help, just a little, for the family's reputation. People are expecting a wedding. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Even after being proven right, even after Marcus's deception was exposed, they still expected me to rescue them. No, I said simply. This isn't my responsibility. Mom's voice changed, back to that sharp edge. You're abandoning us in our hardest time. What kind of daughter does that? I thought about my therapist's question. What kind of family does this? I love you, but I will not fund this wedding. I will not be manipulated. I'm open to rebuilding our relationship based on mutual respect, not financial obligation. Dad took the phone. You're really going to let your brother's wedding fall apart? Let us look like fools? I closed my eyes. This was harder than I thought it would be. Marcus's choices created this situation. I didn't cause this problem and I won't solve it. He's an adult. He needs to face the consequences of his decisions. I heard Marcus yelling in the background. Something about me being dead to him. Mom took the phone back. Fine, don't come to the wedding. Don't come to Christmas. You've made your choice. I had made my choice. For the first time in my life, I chose myself. 6 months have passed since that final phone call. The wedding happened, just not the one Marcus had planned. No Napa Valley Vineyard, no 200 guests, no destination bachelor party in Miami. Instead, Marcus and Jenna had a small courthouse ceremony followed by a backyard reception at my parents' house. About 40 people attended. My parents dipped into their retirement savings to contribute $5,000. Marcus took a second job bartending on weekends to pay for the rest. Jenna's parents helped with the catering. It was modest, intimate, probably more meaningful than the Instagram spectacle Marcus had originally wanted. I saw the photos online. Jenna looked beautiful. Marcus looked older somehow, more tired, more real. I wasn't invited, obviously, and honestly, I was okay with that. I'd spent the day of their wedding hiking with friends, then having dinner at a little Italian place in Hoboken. No guilt, no obligation, just good food and good company. That's when I realized I'd finally broken free. The extended family had their opinions, of course. Some relatives reached out privately to say they understood my position. Others sent messages calling me heartless, saying I'd regret missing family moments. I learned to be okay with both reactions. You can't control what people think. You can only control how much power you give their opinions over your life. My own life started flourishing in ways I hadn't expected. The promotion at work came with a significant raise. Suddenly, I had money actually accumulating in my savings account. It felt surreal. I'd been earning good money for years, but had never seen it grow because it was always flowing out to someone else. Now it was mine. I started looking at condos seriously. Last month, I put down a deposit on a beautiful one-bedroom in Montclair. High ceilings, lots of natural light, a small balcony where I can have my morning coffee. It's the first place that's truly mine. No family emergencies attached, no guilt woven into the walls. Just mine. I've been dating someone I met through friends, someone who respects boundaries and thinks independence is attractive, not threatening. We take things slow. There's no rush. For the first time in my adult life, I have the emotional energy to invest in a relationship because I'm not depleted by everyone else's needs. Therapy helped me understand that love doesn't equal financial servitude, that saying no doesn't make you cruel, that setting boundaries isn't abandonment. I graduated from weekly sessions to monthly check-ins. My therapist says I've done remarkable work. I finally believe her. Contact with my family is minimal. Mom sends a birthday text each year. Dad forwards occasional news articles he thinks I'd find interesting. Marcus and I don't speak. Jenna sent me a message a few months ago thanking me for the coffee shop conversation. She said it helped her set her own boundaries with Marcus. They're in couples counseling. I hope they make it. I really do. But it's not my responsibility to ensure their happiness anymore. Last month, Mom sent a card, "We miss you," written in her careful handwriting. No apology, no acknowledgement of what happened. Just an expectation that time heals everything and eventually I'll come around and things will go back to normal. But normal was me being used. I don't want normal anymore. Some family members will never see me as anything but the resource they lost, the ATM that stopped dispensing cash. And I've made peace with that. It's painful, but it's honest. I spent years being the glue holding everyone together. Turns out, I was the only one who thought that glue was made of my sacrifice. Real family doesn't demand you set yourself on fire to keep them warm. Real love doesn't come with a price tag. I learned that the hard way. But I learned it. Now, on Sunday afternoons, I make brunch for friends in my new condo. We laugh, we talk, we support each other in ways that don't require bank transfers. I'm building new traditions, new family, a new life. And for the first time in 15 years, my phone doesn't buzz with demands. There's no guilt, no exhaustion, just quiet, hard-won peace. If you've ever been the family ATM, the one who gives and gives until there's nothing left, drop a comment below. How did you set boundaries? Or are you still struggling to say no? Let's support each other. And if this story spoke to you, please share it with someone who needs to hear they're not selfish for choosing themselves. Don't forget to subscribe for more real stories about family, boundaries, and finding your own path. Thanks for listening.